Can hard drives fully utilize SATA III? My motherboard currently supports both SATA II and III, 3GB/S and 6GB/S respectively, but after reading some online, it seems as though connecting a HDD to the 6GB/S is pretty much pointless. If this is the case, I'm going to leave my two SATA III ports open for something that can actually use it, which at this point I'm not really sure what can. This is part of an article I read. In terms of everything else, we saw basically no difference from the same single drive being plugged into a SATA 6GB/S or SATA 3GB/S port. All of this is obviously due to the hard drive not being able to actually take advantage of the 6GB/S bus. From Hardoc.
Things to keep in mind. Due to 8B/10B encoding, the maximum data transfer rates of SATA II and SATA III are 300 MB/s and 600 MB/s, respectively. When choosing a proper interface for a drive, the concepts fully utilizes and can benefit from are quite different. A drive with a maximum data transfer rate of 301 MB/s doesn't max out SATA III's 600 MB/s, but it will be limited by SATA II's 300 MB/s. A drive's throughput, disk-to-computer transfer rate, is affected by both the internal, disk-to-buffer, and external, buffer-to-computer, transfer rate. The latter is determined by the interface, for example SATA III, and the drive, the former by the drive alone. The interface should always be slightly faster than the drive itself, or it might slow the drive down. My motherboard currently supports both SATA II and III, 3GB/S and 6GB/S respectively, but after reading some online, it seems as though connecting a HDD to the 6GB/S is pretty much pointless. As of right now, the fastest HDD is the Western Digital Velociraptor WD-1000 with a SATA III interface. Its maximum external transfer rate is 401 MB/s, faster than SATA II. However, this is only significant when reading data that is already buffered or when using write acceleration. The HDD's maximum throughput is 209 MB/s, which should not be slowed down by SATA II. If this is the case, I'm going to leave my two SATA III ports open for something that can actually use it, which at this point I'm not really sure what can. Current consumer-level SSDs can certainly benefit from SATA III. For example, the Samsung 830 has a sequential reading speed of 520 MB/s, which would be severely slowed down by a SATA II interface. When performing random reads, the interface's speed affects the throughput far beyond its rated limit. As you can see, none of the drives exceeds 200 MB/s with the SATA II interface, not even the Samsung 830 and OX Vertex 3, SF22XX, which pass 300 and 350 MB/s with the SATA III interface. Furthermore, consumer-level SSDs could be much faster than even SATA III. For example, the PCI SSD OX Revo Drive 3 has a maximum reading speed of 975 MB/s. Enterprise SSDs achieve speeds far beyond SATA III's 600 MB/s. For example, the iDrive Octal has a maximum reading speed of 6700 MB/s.
No single HDD can fill a 6 GB per second SATA link, nor a 3 GB per second link. If you use SSDs or port multipliers, then it is a different story.
the majority of hard drives cannot fully utilize even SATA I interfaces. Most 3.5-inch models, not above 7,200 revolutions per minute, haven't even approached the 150 MB per second limit at sequential reading. 2.5 inches 7,200 revolutions per minute drives are even slower, usually under 100 MB per second. Sure, there are drives with 10,000 revolutions per minute and 15,000 revolutions per minute, but they are rare, expensive, noisy and more targeted at enterprise users than at home users. These high-performance hard drives saturate SATA I. Full SATA II speeds are unreachable for conventional HDDs for many years to come. The only use for higher interface speeds would be the ability of the drive to transfer data from its buffer, usually 8 to 64 MB. Do you care about it? BTW, SATA III is mostly useless even with many, but not all, SSDs. What gives speed and responsiveness with an SSD is its random read/write speeds, and they lie well below the SATA II threshold with many drives. Sequential read/write speeds, however, do exceed the SATA II threshold.
With the advent of helium-filled drives, manufacturers are coming out with 10 TB, 12 TB, and even 14 TB hard drives that spin at 7,200 revolutions per minute, enabled by the lower density of helium, which reduces turbulence especially with lots of platters inside the drive. Previously, larger drives would be limited to 5,400 revolutions per minute, and traditional non-helium hard drives are currently limited to 8 TB. As hard drive capacities increase, their speed increases as well, and this means that electromechanical disks can saturate the SATA III GB/S interface. In particular, the Seagate Barracuda Pro 12 TB drive can exceed 270 MB/s. This is very close to the theoretical 300 MB/s allowed by SATA III GB/s, and in fact, is close enough that the drive may not be able to reach this speed in practice without a SATA 6 GB/s link. However, there is currently no hard drive capable of reaching the 550 to 560 MB/s or so needed to saturate the SATA 6 GB/s interface. The aforementioned Barracuda Pro is only halfway there. As hard disk technology advances, however, there may very well be drives that can hit these kinds of speeds. Hammer and Mamre are expected to enable hard drives to exceed 20 TB or even 40 TB in capacity. These drives will most likely be released for data center use first, where the predominant interface is SOS 12 GB/s, twice as fast as SATA 6 GB/s. However, there is precedent for enterprise storage technology reaching consumers later on. This has happened with both SSDs and helium hard drives, so chances are good we will eventually see drives that can saturate SATA 6 GB/s. By the time these kinds of drives come out, however, it's very likely they'll get a faster interface to support these speeds. In short, there are electromechanical hard drives that can require SATA 6 GB/s to attain full performance, but there aren't any that can saturate the interface. On the other hand, the vast majority of SSDs are capable of saturating the SATA 6 GB/s interface, and the fastest consumer PCIe SSDs can operate at up to 6 times the sequential I/O speed of SATA SSDs, and this is from my personal desktop, Astaroth.
이분 요한테크 서포는 거점을 플리즈 허쉬가 섭스라이님